Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right? Can you hear me? I'm gonna end up turning down the sound or the music in a little bit. Nobody's there. Okay, so let's see. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I would prefer the music over my own voice as well, so no worries there. Awesome. So I'm just trying to get sound levels and everything correct first, and then I will have Owen. Excuse me, I lost my voice overnight. But yeah, I'll have Owen and CLX joining us for the developer debrief. Lots of fun topics. Yes, PvP is in there, but we'll discuss it in a bit. We have a lot of other things to catch up on. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday. And with that, just give me a minute and we'll get going. Can't hear anything with the music. Okay, well, it's gonna go down in a minute. How is my mic sounding now? Sounds tits. All right. Shame about the voice. Yeah. Trust me, it sucks. So let's see. Let me get the mic closer. So in a minute, Owen and CLX should be popping in. Thank you for all the follows, people. Let's mandatory. Oh, here they are.
Evening.
Hello, hello.
All right, can you guys hear the rest of them?
How's the sound? Sounding good?
Yeah, I gotta do the sound check and all that fun stuff.
Hello, hello, hello.
You like that new look who's talking overlay I got?
That's good, man.
Yeah, now you can actually see who the hell who's speaking.
CLX is quiet but sexy. That's why we bring them along.
That's about it.
I will try to speak up.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to adjust your guys' volumes. So let's see.
I keep saying I'm going to invest in a better mic.
You keep saying.
Yeah.
Hold on, just give me a minute. Just getting everything situated right now. There's a faction struggle going on at the moment. All right, and are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, go for it.
Go for it.
All right, so just so you know who's talking, this is Owen, and then we're joined by Expo and CLX, who is Outlands first player. Bring him along to keep the conversation rolling. Keep me on track. Hi again, everybody. Our last dev debrief was on the 2nd of December, and I think during that one I said, oh, we'll make this a weekly occurrence.
Yes, you did, unfortunately.
Things got a bit busy after that point, and then holidays happened. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. I know I certainly did. I went back to Canada and spent some time with my family in the mountains. Did my best to disconnect from Outlands, but it was impossible.
Did you manage to disconnect for any time at all?
I think I was forced out for a few days anyway, and to my surprise, Outlands continued to operate without me micromanaging everything.
Somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way, some person in particular, Expo really took care of things over the Christmas break. So it was good to know that the shard was in good hands, and I got some skiing in, which was great.
Nice.
Yeah, so we are going to try to do this on a more regular basis, but I'm not really sure what that'll amount to at this point. We've really got our heads and hands deep into developing content and figuring out the direction that Outlands goes in the new year. And we have a lot of things that we're really excited about, and hopefully we'll touch on a few of those as we go through these dev debriefs.
So does it feel like Outlands has kind of moved into a different phase than the last time we spoke?
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
We hit our 2-month anniversary on December 27th. Feels like a lifetime. We've hit a really nice patch of stability. The shard has been running really well. Segueing from that into the fact that the lag is gone, more or less. We do encounter some hiccups when the shard is online for many days at a time, which is sort of a blessing and a curse, as we haven't been patching as much as we used to, but also when the server runs for days at a time, things start to hiccup a bit. So Jaden's working on that. Every time the shard starts to lag and we do a reboot, then Jaden gets a trace and a timer dump, and he works to analyze exactly what's going on in the brains of the operation. One big thing that Jaden did just before the holidays was rewrite the entire netcode structure of RunUO, which was when we saw the biggest decrease in lag. And we very triumphantly announced that the lag was gone, which more or less it has been. We stay really high. We still average around 1,650 players at a time, which is really incredible, especially moving into the second stage of gameplay where people aren't always playing their 3 clients and they're not always macroing a character, and they've moved into actual game content. So I think the shard is more active now than ever. So yeah, it's definitely moved on from the beginning stage, and now we're entering the real gameplay stage, and our main focus now is working on endgame content and continuing to provide exciting things for our players to do and to tackle.
From a player perspective, obviously just my impression, but it doesn't feel like there's any less people on the server. So even if numbers are down, I think that's just like you say, there's probably less people on 3 accounts permanently. You still can barely go walking out into the woods without stumbling across people.
Yeah, we see that for sure. We see activity everywhere. We see, some dungeons are, they have 80 people in them at a time, and the activity is bustling. So we definitely, we peaked at 2,069 or 68 players, I think it was. There was never any expectation that we would stay that high. That was definitely, peak population. We may see those numbers again, but right now we're incredibly content with having 1,600 plus players online all the time.
Yeah, I'm guessing the unique IPs are probably quite similar anyway.
Yeah, I think the unique IP count is quite high. Last I checked, it stays around 1,200 plus unique IPs connected. So there's an incredibly large player base on Outlands right now. And I think what people see, which is really interesting, is when they log in, usually you'd go to Westbrit Bank on a regular shard, and that's where you'd see people, and every other bank is dead. But when you log into Outlands, you go to any bank short of South Prevalia, which is like the secret bank no one uses.
Don't mention that.
There are people everywhere. So yeah, it's definitely
you're mentioning the people everywhere, and even I encounter it because sometimes I'm trying to record, some sort of video or GIF, and sometimes I think nobody's around. Yeah, nobody's around, and I get interrupted. Somebody actually caught me doing treasure maps, which was kind of funny, and but yeah, that, like you said, regardless of where you go, it seems like, we still got so many people everywhere.
I noticed that when I'm answering pages that I'll, pop up and say hi and deal with the page at hand, and like a dozen people will run by. Or they'll stop and say hi, or they'll bow or salute or whatever it might be. And like this world, we're not alone here for sure. So we got a few.
Sorry. So just on the subject of the lag, was that down to the number of players more than anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. The structure of RunUO, as it was originally written, wasn't equipped to handle the number of players that we have. So the fact of the matter is, anyone who's saying they have this many players never has. We have real players online playing, and the base structure of RunUO wasn't equipped to handle it. So Jaden, who's a professional system optimization expert, jumped into the core structure of RunUO and rewrote it from the ground up. There were 3 patches that went in sort of consecutively. One night, I think it was actually a day that I was in transit, and on the 3rd patch, it was stable and nailed it, and the lag was gone. So that was a pretty momentous occasion. It was one of those things that we didn't see until the population got to a certain point. The shard can run perfectly fine with 800 players online. 900 players, around 1,200 players is when we start to see people having connectivity issues. But right now, if you're pinging the shard through like a command prompt, the number you see there is essentially the number that you're going to get in game. So there's really RunUO is so optimized now that there is no connectivity loss connecting from your client to the shard other than your actual connectivity. That's why if people are jumping in chat and they're like, oh, lag, lag, you know, everyone loves to say.
Like earlier.
Yeah, the second they have any lag, they hop in chat and they say, oh, there's lag. And sometimes they don't get any response, probably because most people aren't lagging with them. But it's something that they're experiencing on a connectivity basis.
Right, now it's likely to be individual lag rather than server-based lag.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about your routing, and that's why we ask for trace routes, so you can send that to us and we can see exactly. A lot of the time, you know, you're on a wireless router or shared connection, or, you know, your kid's watching Dora the Explorer, and they're sucking up all your bandwidth. It has nothing to do with the shard. Earlier today, just before the stream, I did a reboot because some players were lagging, and the shard had been online for 3 days, and that's the second part of this issue that we need to tackle. And similarly, we see health bar lag start to happen around that point. So it may.
Would you consider just doing daily?
Yeah, I think that's what this will result to, is that we do a scheduled reboot every day, or every other day, so we avoid these issues altogether. And then people can, you know, if it's scheduled for midnight every night, then people can plan their macros accordingly, and or plan their gameplay accordingly.
Yeah, set up server wars and everything as well.
Yeah, we'll add that.
Yeah,
to the list.
no thanks. Yeah. Well, I'd love to see that, but I don't want to hear, oops, I missed the server war.
Yeah,
the timer.
Exactly. Exactly. So one of the really cool things we have going with Discord right now, actually, is that we have a Discord streamer bot happening that Expo set up. He worked with a developer to get this organized. And now, instead of having a list of 15 plus people who stream Outlands, they are now moved into the category where when they're streaming, they're moved automatically. So
wait, should I just quickly explain you know, how to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Please do.
Okay. Yeah, so this is to the streamers out there. Anybody, you know, I have certain people that were already streaming, and they kind of have, since they were, you know, I'll guess originators or whatever. I have already their URLs and everything, but basically all you have to do is when you start playing, and you just have to make sure within Discord itself, there's the user settings. In there, you want to enable the game activity, because game activity is going to show that you're playing. You're probably going to have to rename it to like UOOutlands or something. And but you change it to UOOutlands, and then go into streamer mode, enable streamer mode, and from there, your name should turn purple within Discord. And once you do that, the bot will automatically pick you up, and it will toss you into the streamer group. Excuse me. And once you get into the streamer group, you know, one of the functionality or the functions I'm going to have for it is kind of like gamifying it, where you will, the more you stream, you will earn points, and that will enable the bot to either announce your stream in general chat. It'll make a better looking announcement, and maybe, you know, if I get clearance, you know, maybe we'll have some unique item that's only for the streamers that can't be traded or anything, but something really cool, you know, just to help promote the shard. You know, I enjoy going and seeing lots of people's different streams. Those are always fun to watch. So yeah, so again, I'm going to have a forum post about it. I was supposed to already, but I keep getting sidetracked with everything. And yeah, but if you have any questions about the Discord bot, just PM Expo, and you know, I'll help you out.
Owen, can we talk about the classic UO clients?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Yep.
So, Classic UO is a client that Jaden's been working on with a group of people, and it's essentially an Orion rewrite in C#. And the reason why they switched from C++ to C# was because many more people know C#. And Jaden's been spearheading this project for quite a while, and he put a team together, and it has now reached its alpha release stage. So Classic UO is available for playtesting. It isn't super easy and straightforward to set up yet, but if you would like to try Classic UO, then check out the Orion channel in Discord and ask Jaden or one of the other developers. Let me just grab his
So they're
name.
sticking with that name, Classic UO.
Crasho is one of the main lead developers on the project. I think they are sticking with Classic UO for now.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far from classic as you can possibly
Exactly. That's the irony.
Yeah. So
Irony
Classic
UO.
UO it's the future for us. It's definitely a direction that we want to push our player base. There's been a lot of concern, a lot of talk about the assistants that are available, which are basically cheat clients, and for us, that's not cool. I don't know. I have all kinds of thoughts on it, but I'll reserve sort of bite my tongue for the first time ever, and we won't go down that road. But ultimately, we would like everyone on Classic UO so that we can block everything else.
Yeah, sensible option. If it becomes playable in the future, why not?
Yeah, for sure. So they're using the community edition of Razor, and then we'll add tweaks to Razor to make it behave a bit more like Steam in terms of grid loot and a scripting language. Right now, it's definitely an alpha client. It's not beta. This is first release. This is the start of a really exciting project, and the speed at which they're developing it far exceeds what Jaden could do with Orion on his own, which is one reason why Orion's kind of been abandoned on that side of things. The Orion project, I mean, can almost officially be declared a dead project at this point. No one was developing it but Jaden. The versions that exist that you can get your hands on, which use the Orion Assistant, will shortly be blocked, and we're really focusing on Classic UO as being the future for Outlands. I think it's exciting. I think it's really cool. One really awesome feature is that it runs natively on Linux and Mac, which will open up an entire new player base for us.
Exactly.
So
That's what I was going to mention.
Don't need to run Wine or whatever else they're using to hop onto their Mac. And
so I guess don't expect it anytime soon, but it is the way things are going to be going.
Yeah, we don't have a timeline on it right now. They're developing it actively. The more feedback they get on it, the better, and the sooner changes will be made. I think even right now, like the custom status bar doesn't work, but they already have it coded. Things like that are coming down the pipeline really quickly. So that's one exciting thing that's in the works. And one other, we have so much going on behind the scenes, and I have to be cautious about what we're
exactly.
talking about.
I was about to message you.
A lot of discussion that's going on about the future of Outlands and endgame content and things that we're working towards. Now, there's been a lot of questions about PvP and the faction system and how to expand upon that and what the right direction will be. I don't have much to say in regards to the future of PvP. Staff sanctioned PvP in that regard yet, but we are working actively on it in the background. One thing, I believe it'll either be patched tonight or tomorrow, depending on when Luthieus is around. Well, two things. The first thing is that Shrine corruptions have been recoded again. Over the holidays, there were quite a few issues that none of the staff on board had any control over, meaning that people who were taking part in the shrines weren't getting rewarded adequately. And that was frustrating for all of us. It was frustrating for the people that were spending hours doing it. It was frustrating for the staff who couldn't stop it. It was frustrating. It was just really frustrating all around.
And it was during Christmas too.
Oh, and was it frustrating?
Was it frustrating?
Oh my god, it was so annoying. It was being woken up in the night to delete a bunch of ads that people weren't killing, and then people complaining about not getting their tokens, and people having
Can
tokens
can I
stolen.
can I mention just a funny thing? Because it was during Christmas and that time, and I remember having to sit there and kind of explain to my dad since I took my laptop with me whenever I went to visit my family, and it's like, oh, you're still playing UO? It's like, well, kind of, not really, but I kind of have to take care of this real quick.
Yeah.
And showing him that it was pretty funny though. Because he remembers me playing, as a freaking teenager, as a kid. So it was good to kind of bring it up with him again.
So hopefully it's fixed. That's all I have to say. It's been a real ongoing project to get shrine corruptions fixed. I think that the system is great, and then the people that are always playing, it always sees a huge turnout. There's usually like 40 or 50 players taking down a shrine, but the way that it was handled in terms of estimated shrines and projected or estimated tokens and your projected result and how much damage you had to do to the boss in relation to how much damage you've done to all of the waves wasn't really straightforward. So hopefully there will be some more clarity provided for that, so we stop getting angry messages from people who say, I wasted my time. I was kind of at my wit's end when I made that announcement in Discord and said, if you are the type of player who feels that your time is wasted by taking part in a shrine and not getting your rank tokens, then just don't do it right now.
Exactly.
You weren't
Because
wrong. You weren't wrong.
Yeah, I didn't have any other recourse, to be honest. My hands were a bit tied until Luthieus recoded it. So there's that. So hopefully, point being, that's hopefully being patched in tonight when Luthieus does a patch. There will be a patch later this evening. The second part of that is that faction flashpoints will be introduced.
Tell us about faction flashpoints, Owen.
Well, they're watching a faction struggle right now. That's what's going on.
You're seeing a faction struggle right now, which is Order versus Chaos. If you're in a Freedom Guild, you get automatically distributed to one of the other factions. These have been a huge success since we made the tweaks. I can't judge how many people are playing exactly by looking at the screen, but it looks like it's about 20 versus 20, something like that. And right now the score is really close, and people are competing actively. Faction struggles have been really fun for a lot of people. We have some players that have gotten their Order mount tokens, so they're rocking those, and people are working towards their goals. So for us, this is the foundation of the faction system. This is the start of a much larger system that will be rolled out and introduced as time goes on. So the next step is the Flashpoint system, which is basically a 15-minute King of the Hill style event at random intervals, which will happen between faction struggles. They have one control zone that's fought over by all three different factions, meaning that Freedom faction guilds will not be treated as enemies of each other while they're within the zone. So everyone's basically on their own. The locations are pretty much all in the wilderness or in dungeon areas. So within that 50 tile radius, you'll be unable to recall gate or camp. They work similarly to how you control the point in a faction struggle, but it's much more, you're on your own. If you die, you don't go back to a base. If you die, you lose your things. If you die, you don't respawn, all of that sort of thing. So it's much more field oriented.
It's going to be a very, very, very different type of combat, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of 15 minutes, the faction that's controlling the zone will earn their faction reward points and guild prestige. So right now, I don't think that we have a scoreboard for those individual events, but you do get points and prestige for taking part. Nice. So these will happen multiple times between the scheduled faction events, or faction struggles regularly, and that should get a bit more sort of dynamic PvP happening throughout the world, which I think is something that people have been craving for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, the flashpoints are going to be, like you said, something completely different type of fighting, but still pretty fast paced. That's for sure.
Well, I think from my understanding, they're going to be something that starts a bit of fighting that's going to then obviously continue outside of the
the
outside
zone.
of the exactly. It's going to carry on further afield and for a greater period of time anyway, just because that amount of people are logged on anyway. They're not going to suddenly log off when they've got a ton of enemies running around.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
So as opposed to the faction struggles right now, where you take part, if you're in the point, you get teleported back to the base, and then that kind of ends it. You know, the fighting doesn't continue, and we've noticed that there are a few people that have been logging in just for the faction struggles, which is fine, you know, if that's the way you want to play. But our goal is that you log in, you stay logged in, and you continue to play so that the world continues to evolve. And ideally, these flashpoints get you out and about into areas that you may not go usually, or that you wouldn't log in for. So you're going to be logged in for faction struggles, then you could stay logged in and then go contest the flashpoint. Someone asked how long they last. They last for 15 minutes, so they'll be short and sweet.
Exactly. Yeah, and speaking of, this is actually a really close fight. It's 309 to 304 with less than 2 minutes left. So, I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry.
Yeah, we've been seeing the faction struggles are getting closer and closer and closer. I think guilds are starting to decide which side they're fighting for, and for a while we had some players that were hopping back and forth just to disrupt things, but I think that we've got the message through to them that that isn't really an acceptable way to play the game. If your sole purpose is simply to disrupt gameplay, then you're not really going to be able to play the game. Also, AFKing on faction points, just standing there to get some prestige, AFKing in faction bases. We're cracking down on those sorts of things to make the whole experience much cleaner.
It's not, exactly. It's not personal. It's nothing like that. We're trying to streamline everything. You know, it will be changed eventually, but it just makes everything smoother.
Yeah, until we get another cycle of patches rolling through, which we'll see some changes to factions. Right now, they've been running really well, and people have really been enjoying them. So another thing that will most likely be patched in this evening is arena tournaments. So I know people have been waiting for those to kick in, and they will be shortly. There have been some questions about templates, which I don't have the answers to yet. I've been meaning to ask Luthien. People have been asking if the 720 templates will work, or if that's something that we can turn off for the order tournaments. That's TBD. So we'll see. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, CLX?
So, turning off the extra 20 points for tournaments we talked
Yeah.
about, I think there should definitely be an option where people can just do 7x duels. I mean, I don't think it makes a massive difference. Say someone wants to take a 7x mage, classic tank mage template with 20 tracking. That gives them an extra 2% damage. I guess there may be ways to cheese it with those extra 20 points, but I don't think it's major. But an option for 7x duels wouldn't go amiss if it wasn't too much work for Luthien.
I've had a few people ask me for 5x duels recently. Like,
you're in the wrong era.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work here.
With
kill through poison, that seems incredibly boring.
Here's a quick...
unless you turn that off. Anyway, that's not on the docket at the moment.
Yeah, 5 pages worth of participants, just a heads up. Like you were saying, it was about like 21 versus 21, 22, something like that. So that's pretty, that's a very nice, exactly. That's a very nice struggle right there. And congrats again, Genesis, not Genesis.
Not Genesis was our winner?
Not Genesis, top player.
Good job, Genesis. Congratulations. Another boost to your ego.
But yeah.
All right, so what's next?
I've got some questions, Owen. If you wanted me to.
No.
Oh yeah, we had the questions.
Interlude with some questions, if you like.
Where are you pulling these questions from? Are these forum questions?
I have some. I've asked people to private message me on Discord because I miss them if they come up in the chat.
Oh, we have some. Didn't I send you the link, CLX?
I don't think so.
Oh no. Oh, oops. I'll get
There's
that
some
to you
questions
right
on
now.
the forum that we can touch on as well.
Whilst I read some of these out and you answer, I will go and find that.
All right.
Okay, so Costin has asked about, we're going back to factions. Would there be a possibility to bring back the struggles only option? He said the trade-off for this could be that you earn less prestige and points from the struggle.
Yeah, the struggles only option is returning. Actually, that's something that was really widely requested, basically from people who don't want to be killed at the bank all the time, because there are definitely players that run around just for the sake of killing people. But yeah, the struggles only option flag selection will be returning probably in the patch this evening.
Okay. That's answered that one easily. Sir Arch has asked about new dungeons. I'm guessing you're probably going to talk about this anyway. When are the new dungeons likely to come out? And what is the next event that you have planned?
All right, so
Dun dun dun. If you look at the
Expo, is now a good time for you to throw up those graphics?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me get those for you. Hold on.
All right, so there's 2 dungeons that are in the works right now. Ossuary 4, a brand new level for Ossuary is going to be added, which will
There you go.
extend. One of our most popular dungeons is Ossuary, but it's definitely a beginner dungeon, and it misses that high-end, high-level traffic that the other dungeons see. So I've made some modifications that you can see on the stream. So this is Ossuary 3, which is where the entrance will be. There's actually 2 entrances, but you can find the other. Essentially, we'll be adding more high-end content. So this is some.
It's a lot wider, that's for sure.
Well, there's still some one.
Yeah, the next.
It's a tight dungeon. That's definitely a design decision.
There it is, right there. There's the one tile.
There's a lot of one tile content happening in Ossuary. There's a few one tile areas. That bridge in particular is going to cause some grief.
It looks good though. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm excited about Ossuary 4. I think that this will be a really nice, welcomed addition to Ossuary. It will definitely make it less possible to be found. And then the next big dungeon that we have is Cavernum coming out, and that will be released. Oh no, where'd it go?
Sorry, I was messing with the thing. Sorry. It's gonna go back. It's gonna do the ossuary thing again. Sorry.
Anyway, Cavernum's gonna come out mid-month, and that's gonna be a pretty massive patch. So, an event and a dungeon release will be happening for that.
Several events that are leading up to that.
Several events. Cavernum's almost done. It's a massive 3-level dungeon, which will include a mini boss and a boss. And it's an ice-themed dungeon. So I'm pretty excited about it. I've been spending a lot of time working on it. Snow is a really difficult tile set to do, but I'm happy with the way that it's coming out. I'm excited to see the monsters that Luthien has made, how the boss performs. But yeah,
there you go. It's up now.
A major dungeon release incoming sort of mid-January. We'll have more details regarding that soon.
Yes.
So first it goes to level 1 here. I had a lot of pressure to add some color. Not to name names, but it used to be all monochromatic.
It was.
And I really liked it.
It was so monochrome.
People were complaining, so I did some work on it. Anyway, it's got this really cool frozen lake. There's a lot of really big areas. The initial direction for Cavernum was, I'm going to say it wrong, but Hithlith and Destard mixed together. So there's a lot of individual rooms where people can go and play and not really be found. I think one batch of commentary that I've received about the dungeon design is that it's very linear. You start at the beginning of level 1 and you follow a path until you get to level 3, and then that's your dungeon experience. But with the introduction of Ossuary 4 and also with Cavernum, we're giving players a chance to spread out a bit more without red players following a linear line and knowing exactly where you are in the dungeon at any time. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really fun experience, and the event should be a lot of fun. That's already in the works. So once we have details for that, then we will let you know.
Okay. More questions, or did you want to move on for a bit first?
Sorry
I don't
about
know,
the.
Expo, do you want to touch on the event?
Yeah, actually, that's kind of what I wanted to get to. Yeah, the seizure. Sorry about that. I accidentally hit the wrong button for that. But yes, as he was saying, Cavernam is going to be released eventually soon. But we have a couple of events that are leading up to it, which actually one of them is happening at 6:30 in about an hour from now. It's kind of a prequel to it. It's just leading up. It's building up the story and the lore, and basically, I guess closing or tying strings. I guess transitioning from holiday Christmas stuff to now, Arctic, and then eventually brand new dungeons. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the events are, except for the one that's coming up. It's not a huge excuse me. It's not a huge event, but hopefully we'll see a lot of people out there anyways, because it's going to be fun, and you'll get to battle the Grunch. Hopefully I said that correctly. But yes, he'll be there. And but yeah, that's also thanks to Kalik for that, or Kalak. He helped out, or he actually wrote the beginning lore for it, and did a lot of the stuff for the actual event that we're going to be doing a little bit later. And yeah, so after this,
So to summarize,
sorry,
Prevalia Bank.
Yes, sorry, yes,
tonight.
Sorry, go, I'll shut up.
So what else do we have? Just a reminder that the holiday cloth and deco comes off the vendor next weekend. We'll probably be patching the map, so all the Christmas deco goes next weekend as well, and that will be the introduction of Cavern and Manos Roy 4 to the map. Whether those things happen next weekend or not is unlikely. Sorry, I see Expo, you just put something up there.
Yeah, that's it's Black T's. Those are pictures from Black T's competition. I just, I had them on there because I was going to talk about the community and whatnot, but I got cut off, so it's okay. You can keep talking.
Black T hosted a Christmas decorating contest, and in good, fair sportsmanship, awarded everybody the total prize, split it all evenly. We had some really great submissions, had some community support rallied up there. And then Hig posted his Higsmas Eve.
Yep,
which
Higsmas
was fun and well attended for a bunch of people as well.
I think I missed that. What did that involve?
It was a Christmas Eve get together, I think, basically. I wasn't there.
Yep, at his wagon. Mm-hmm.
I was logged off.
Or caravan.
His wagon.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think he wrote more books, which are now becoming collectible items. So that was.
Yeah, those are the best kind of rares. Rares that a player has had some input into.
Yeah, Hig's an amazing contributor to the community. I look forward to seeing what he comes up with next. He's definitely a creative, hilarious guy. I'll never forget when we launched and he stood, or maybe it was in beta, and he stood on the dock, and as people logged in Shelter Island, he welcomed them to the Shard and asked them if they needed any help and walked them around, and now his sort of goodwill has extended into the Shard, and we're always excited when a Hig event comes. So holiday cloth and deco comes off the vendor next weekend, so if you want any of the holiday cloth, get it now. Those holiday hues aren't limited edition, meaning that they'll probably be seen again next Christmas, so there isn't really any urgency to that, but there's no guarantee of that either. I'm not saying that to be sinister, but we may have some new hues by then. There will be... maybe I'll hold off on a bit of this information until next weekend, because I think that...
Yeah, probably.
We have a lot coming down the pipeline. Basically, we have an expansion happening with a new dungeon level, and a variety of other sort of huge things coming down the pipe for Outlands.
You are
which
such a tease.
I know. I just want to make sure that
Yeah,
I'm not
don't.
saying anything
No.
that's not going to be misquoted at this point.
Exactly.
I actually haven't had much time to touch base with Luthieus. We've spoken a bit. He's been coding madly. He took a vacation as well. He was on a trip with his family. So once I know more details or I can speak in official terms, I will definitely release more information. But there's a lot of new things coming down. Anyway, we can do some questions if you like.
Okay, so I will finish the ones I've got in Discord, then I'll move on to the forum ones.
Sure.
I'm not sure what's going on with fishing. I have no, I have no comprehension or understanding of it at all. But there's been quite a few questions. Some around messages.
I know there's been I've been speaking to a few players as well. I know that there's some concerns about how lucrative fishing is or the lack thereof, especially like message in a bottle and SOS and those sorts of things. They're very challenging, but the reward isn't anything like treasure chests, which are quite easy to a certain extent. So there's definitely some balancing and tweaking that will be addressed with the whole fishing system. That is very much Luthieus' baby. That's his pet project. I know the bare bones of it, but I am not the one to speak to about that in general. It's something that he'll have to address and speak to when he's available. So we put it in front of him, and it's just a matter of time before he digests it and makes the changes that people are looking for.
Okay, so moving on to the forum for now. First question I can see: are there still any items out there undiscovered by players? So stillable rares, server birth rares, etc. I mean, whether that's even something you'd want to reveal, I don't know.
All the server birth rares were found within the first week, so no, there aren't any of those that have been found. I see they're selling for quite a high price now. Some players have quite a few of them, and they're collecting them. There will be another round of rares that will be released, but there are no undiscovered launch rares out.
So were there 20 server birth rares? Am I right?
Yeah, there were 20.
You can find them on. I have them on the wiki.
Are they on the wiki?
I'll put a link in there.
They're all on the wiki. But no, there aren't any. Nothing's undiscovered as yet.
Okay.
We're starting to build a bit of a collection of these cards. So
I like those.
I like them too. That was sort of a last minute addition in beta. I don't know. I kind of geek out over it. But the cards are something that I'm a fan of. Black Tea actually suggested an idea that we allow people to combine 3 cards to make a poster.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good idea.
So you'll be able to put them on your wall, which I think would be cool. That's something that I'll work on, so that if you want to, put your map up, or there will be other. We'll eventually release the method that we have in mind for how to display your cards.
Right.
Not yet.
I still kind of miss the holiday bells from OSI. I know they're a pretty pathetic item.
Yep. Hey, I like them.
Yeah, that was the one rare that I like to collect.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Christmas, I don't know.
Came and flew by.
I was ambitious to try to do a Halloween event. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was like 3 days after launch. That was crazy. Yeah. No idea what we were stepping into, basically. And then Christmas, I mean, we spent a lot of time tackling server stability and lag, and by the time Christmas rolled around, Luthieus put this event together, and I think it was popular. There were something like 900 trees decorated, and once we added the toggles that people could turn it off if they didn't want to take part in it, it was really well received. Answering pages and popping around, seeing people with trees in their houses. It's definitely that event was successful. Congratulations to the winner, who I think had 27
generic
trees.
Tamer.
Generic tamer.
27 trees.
27 trees.
That's some dedication.
Yeah, it was cool. His house is a tree farm, basically.
And which is quite ironic when you were moving people's houses, Expo, because they had trees in them.
Yeah, and then we're sitting here. Hey, that is a funny comparison right there. But these trees are okay.
Okay, all right. We know those trees are.
I can chop them down, so you're not going to
Yeah.
get repoed or anything.
And as for undiscovered areas, I don't think there are really any undiscovered areas at this point. The map has been well combed.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say if people have discovered everything, because I'm sure there are, some nooks and crannies that people haven't found. But a lot of the map secrets that I built in were found quite quickly, and also found in beta. I think a lot of people really made it. That was their main reason for logging in during beta, was to gain some map knowledge ahead of others.
Definitely the case for me.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I mean, I wanted to hold back on the map for a long time, but it became impossible. There was no point. We wanted to get content developed and rolled out, and we released the whole map. My main concern was other shards stealing the map before we had a chance to release our shard, and that didn't happen. So, crisis averted.
It's obviously not as desirable as you thought, Owen.
Clearly, yeah, map's shit, really. Just a garbage map.
So I will move on to the next question. I already know the answer to this because it's you, and this is the one thing that you enjoy more than anything else in UO. Do you see
mount breeding?
Oh no, I think mount breeding is probably second behind even this. Do you see additional house deco being made available in the future?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like paintings and rugs. Yeah, you're missing out on rugs at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. We both of those items are on the dock. So stay tuned for those. Yes, absolutely. There will be an injection of home deco coming shortly.
Okay. With regards to tweaks, changes, and nerfs, do staff ever make slight changes to combat-related things like weapon hit ratio, etc., without announcing in patch notes?
No.
Or are they? Yeah.
No, we don't. There actually haven't been any combat-related changes that I can think of offhand since we left beta. So the numbers that we have on those spreadsheets are very transparent. That is the way things sit currently. I think that there are a few tweaks coming down the road, but none of them will be stealth tweaks. I'm not a huge fan of stealth tweaks. I like to be as transparent as possible, and I think we have been. There might have been one incident where we fixed a bug that someone thought was a stealth tweak and it didn't make it into the patch notes, but we were very transparent and forthcoming in chat when we were asked about it. Once I had confirmation from Atheist that was indeed a fix and not a tweak, then that's the way it ended up. There's a big difference between fixing bugs and nerfing things. I think a lot of people don't really understand that. If things are... I really wavered on the active recall thing, which was something I regret. I should have just turned off Discord and walked away and left it that way, because it's definitely being gamed, but I chickened out on it due to the lash out from the community.
Backlash, yeah.
The backlash. I should have just stood my ground, because the
whole
mechanic is worthless now.
Yep.
And that was something that should have been done within the first week of the shard launching, but we had our hands full with other things that were much more pressing.
Yeah. Now, so, my perspective on that is it's only natural that you're gonna react to things that, when Discord can very quickly make something that's not a major issue seem like a crisis.
Yeah, for sure. There's some really loud people in Discord.
They're professionals at that.
Yeah, professional griefers even in Discord.
Well, if you remember, you've changed the summoners a couple of times, and
I forgot about that.
The reaction was hilarious.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Guess what? People are still playing summoners.
I mean, summoners are the #1 template that are played. I don't care what anyone says, but if you look at any group that's playing, any event that's taking place, anything, it's definitely summoners are #1. Yeah. Still, we have something in the works for summoners as well. I'm not going to divulge any other information.
Something positive, you mean?
It's something positive. It's not a nerf. I think people will like it. I know a lot of people
will like it.
A lot of people have invested time in summoners, whatever that means. I mean, it's basically a free template. So they like to remind you that they built that template, and without summoners, then it's useless. And anyway, we have something coming down the pipeline.
You made it sound like a threat.
It's not a threat, as much as I'd like to strangle your demons. Not a threat. But yeah, there's something coming down the pipeline for the summer templates as well.
Okay, next question from Chance on the forums, and yeah, that's a very relevant question. I think any plans to address aspect pet leveling in the newbie dungeon?
Yes, absolutely. I think that'll be changed in the next patch. It's something that I've been petitioning for quite a while. I don't think you should be able to gain aspect gear, aspect levels in the newbie dungeon. That seems ridiculous to me. If you want to play an endgame content, then why are you in the new player dungeon? We ask people to leave if we see them doing that. Basically shame them out of the new player dungeon. I literally like show myself and say, why are you playing in aspect gear in the new player dungeon? And they say, okay, I'll leave. They like walk out and go to a real dungeon.
Maybe this is a stupid question, Owen, but why can you even go to Shelter Island if you're not a new player?
Well, we wanted to allow veterans to welcome their friends, basically. If you're not a young player, you can't use the bank or any of the shops, so there's really no reason for you to be there. But we do notice that players are using the new player dungeon to level their aspect gear and also to train pets. And we're now jailing people. Obviously, people have probably been noticing if they're taking part that they're being jailed if they're AFK farming, especially in the new player dungeon. So
I still think you should just not allow people to go back there. Once you've hit 70 skills,
well,
that's it.
I mean, if you
want to go there, make a new character.
If you saw our private conversations, you'd see that I'm on the same side of the fence as you. But unfortunately, it's me versus the world sometimes.
Okay.
So. But yes, that's an upcoming change.
A question that's just flown in from Bisky, which I think is probably more for Luthien than yourself, but I'll ask it. It seems it just pops up on my screen. Are there any plans to nerf 55 damage Halley hits on targets? Yeah, that's one for Luthien, Bisky. I'm fairly certain. I would probably suggest that you address any concerns you have to him on something like that, on a mechanic issue like that.
Please. I can't speak to mechanical questions in that regard. It's not my realm to make statements in regards to existing mechanics. I simply am here to receive your feedback and present it to the man who makes the changes in that regard.
Any plans to make Tinker Traps work in PvP?
No, not right now. But one thing that we've seen or have discussed is to bring some kind of mechanical golem situation in for Tinkers and Crafters so that they can have some kind of method to do damage. But that's something that is in the 4. Not in the 4. It's far away. It's not on the agenda right now. It's something that we might add in the future.
Okay, next question. From Maynard on the forums. Can we have repairable / rechargeable instruments or some kind of aspect instrument?
Yeah, we can. I actually added this to the bug tracker request feature thing recently. I think that instruments should be repairable. It's a main tool for a bard, and just as a dexter or a tamer can res their pets, I think that instruments should definitely be repairable. So we're still going to work out the details on that, but it's definitely being discussed. So that's something that we're aware of. We've heard those comments and those requests, and there are a few issues surrounding durability and the mastercraft quality and enhanced durability from certain ore and materials going into aspect gear that isn't translating properly, and that's something that Luthien has to untangle. Additionally, the achievement system, speaking of untangling, would require him to really dig in and make some changes to it. I know that people are achieving things they're not showing. That can be really frustrating for players, but that's a big system that really needs him to dig into. It isn't necessarily a priority, but we're absolutely aware that it's happening. And similarly with the storage shelves, we know that some people have been experiencing issues where they're adding items to the storage shelf and they're not appearing when they add them. So those items are there, they're just not showing up properly. Also, people withdrawing items and having issues with those loadouts not working correctly. So those those are all things that are currently on the agenda for Luthien to get to.
Yeah.
Luthien is balancing major content releases with major bug fixes, and thankfully, we now have Vorspire on the team. I guess that's something I can touch on as well. Is that we brought on Vorspire onto the development team. So the development team now entails Luthien and Vorspire and Jaden. Vorspire is one of the most experienced and well-respected developers that the UO community has ever seen. I think he's been around for about 15 years. He's an extremely talented coder. One main thing that he's working on right now is optimizing his patch server. Vorspire wrote our original patcher, or wrote our patcher, and now we need to make it faster. So that is an exciting addition, and hopefully Vorspire after the holidays gets into the rhythm of knocking out bug fixes as well as aiding Luthien in content production, and we get into a much more sort of streamlined rhythm of content release and constant fixes.
The way I'm treating a lot of these new features that obviously Luthien has created from the ground up is just to treat it like early UO, where the whole game was new and obviously everything needed fixes when it's never been seen before, never been tried before, never been abused before. These systems aren't going to be right first time around unless we're very lucky. Yeah,
no, they're not. The expectation that things will be perfect right out of the bat is a high one. I think that Outlands has had the illusion of perfection in terms of the outward imagery and direction that the shard has taken. It definitely looks like it's more than a 2 or 3 man show, but the reality is that the ones doing the work are really few. So
yes, I think that's Expo's fault. He's made it look so professional that you could actually believe it's a professional game studio that's running the show.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's all Expo's fault.
It's my fault. Sorry.
Any more questions?
Yeah, let me just carry on down the list. So someone's asked. There's a couple of faction struggle questions, but you've already kind of answered those, so I'll skip past those. So apologies to the people that have asked them. Other questions regarding the client that you've already answered. Taming and pets above 100. Someone's saying, isn't there something wrong when 90 to 100 pets are more efficient than 120 pets? Is that the case?
I think that's a perception. Whether there's any reality in that or not, I'm not sure. Okay. I know that we have said that we would be addressing high-level pets. That's definitely something that is on the agenda. We would like to give high-end tamers something to work towards, for sure. Cavernum will see some high-level pets. If you can imagine a particular white dragon that currently isn't available, they will be making an appearance in Cavernum.
Nice.
So yeah, there's definitely some high-level pets coming.
Okay. I'm going to apologise to Nock because he's formulated a very well-written post on the forum with plenty of questions, but they're all ones that are absolutely pointless for me to ask to Owen, I'm afraid. They need to be addressed to Luthien. I would suggest making a forum post. Obviously, he's a very busy man, and perhaps linking him to the forum post that you've made, because there's a lot of questions that only he is going to know the answer to. I'm just scrolling through them myself now. I'm not sure I even understand all the questions. So yeah, I would suggest any mechanic-specific questions go straight to him. Sorry, I'm just scrolling down. I went through the list.
Yeah, no problem.
Can resource maps be generated from the resource gathering skill the same way that seeds are? Expo, you might know the answer to this.
No, I understand this question. Someone paged about this earlier, and I dropped the page into development chat. The intention of resource maps is that they create a resource that you can hunt for. It's a multi-dimensional concept happening here. If you want to gather the resources as a resource gatherer, then go gather resources. But if you want a guaranteed stash, then you need to collect that map from someone who found it out in the world. So, no, the answer to that question is no, not at the moment.
Okay, the last question I can ask from this list is from Jack saying, can we please get a text recap of the highlights because Twitch is a bit of a struggle on his connection. Perhaps we could have to get someone to describe this
Could do some minutes for
gibber
you.
of ours. Yeah, maybe. I could try next time. I could try. I'm not doing much. That's it from the questions. Unless anyone's got any they want to fire into chat or into Discord.
No, I think that's it.
That should
There's one
be,
about
yeah.
There's a house options one, and I think you would be able to answer this one. I mean, would you ever consider new house options, possibly player created through contests of some kind?
Yeah, I think so. I will never add custom housing. I hate that system. I hate the way shards look when they have the custom housing system. Basically ends up with a bunch of warehouses on the map with teleporters and no doors and all one tile, and it just makes the shard look like garbage. So no, that is not something that we'll entertain. But with content expansions and other releases, we'll definitely be seeing some more houses coming up.
Okay, and there is two more questions that I haven't asked. One is one we did speak about the last time on the debrief, I think, about the Wiki Expo. Let me just grab the actual question. We know Expo is working on the wiki, but for those of us that would like to contribute, does he have any subjects he is not actively working on, so that we don't waste our time contributing to something he's already...
Expo?
I'm sorry, what was that? I stepped away for a second.
If someone wants to contribute to the wiki, how do they do that?
Oh, send me a message on Discord. Try to, format it as least as possible, but if you know wiki formatting, it's not hard. But yeah, just message me the information, and I've gone through there and added a bunch that people have sent me. So just keep sending it to me. Eventually, I'll get there.
I think also any corrections that need to be made to the wiki. A lot of the content was added to the wiki during beta, which has since changed.
Yeah.
So if you notice anything's incorrect, then just drop Expo a line, and he will add it for sure. I think if you're looking at the wiki, you can see which pages aren't done. So if that's something that you're interested in contributing to, then hop on it.
It's been asked a few times, and I tried to answer that. But are there any plans to introduce faction scoring / kill points for outside of struggles and flashpoints? Yeah.
I think that is part of the overarching idea of the faction system and the direction that it goes. There are a few new faction directives that we'll add in the future, but we'll touch more on that when we have more information confirmed about them. But yeah, there was definitely more to factions coming down the line.
There's a question just popped into the chat that I'm intrigued by because I have no idea what the problem is. Are mastercrafted disguise kit names going to be fixed? What does that mean?
I dropped that bug into the bug tracker yesterday, or 2 days ago, something like that. So yes, it will be addressed.
One last question, I think. Any plans on speeding up pets outside of combat?
This is a common question. Right now, no, we don't have any plans to touch pets. Their speed out of combat was never touched. So it's something that we'll definitely assess, but right now we're not, we don't have any plans to change the speed at which pets move.
Cool. Okay, sorry if I've missed anyone's questions, but I think we've taken up enough of Owen's and Expo's time.
Yeah, we actually have, like I said, the event happening in about half an hour, so everybody, come to Prevalia right here in the town square. We will be gathering here in about half an hour.
Oh, the event leaves Prevalia Bank at 6:30.
Yes.
Come on down.
Nice.
Cool. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yep.
If you have any questions, we'll probably make a forum post so that you can get the questions in if you feel they haven't been answered in regular communications. And we'll try to do this more often, but we're definitely focusing on content and working things out.
Okay, I've got one question, Owen. Sorry.
Oh, jeez.
our man, you the hag, has jumped in very quickly with a question saying, do the enhancements that are purchased work account-wide, like spell hues?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
Yes,
they're
they are
combined.
account-wide.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Right, cheers.
All right.
All right.
catch you later.
Yeah. So see you guys.
See you at the event.
Yes, and so I'm gonna end the stream right. Well, actually, should I just keep it going, or no? It's still half an hour. So I'm going to stream the event. So if you guys want to tune in for that, like I said, just hop in whenever I start the stream up again, in probably about like half an hour, and yeah, enjoy Outlands.
Later.